Good morning everyone. Today we are going to check if disruptive innovation happens in defense industry or not. So let's understand defense industry first. Share of defense imports of top 10 countries. You can see that India is the biggest defense importer in the world. India's defense budget was around $55 billion in 2017, out of which around 50% were imports. Modernization of Indian defense acquisition. So basically currently Indian defense equipment profile is around 50% obsolete, and India's target is to make it 30% obsolete and increase the part of state of the art machineries, which will be around 30% state of the art. So basically, we want to understand who are the players in the market. There are around three types of players in form of attackers who are actually entering the market currently. One is the startups. You can see that it's companies like MKU which actually manufactures uh, which manufactures bullets and other components. There are companies like new entrants, foreign companies like GE, Saab, Raytheon, General Dynamics, and there are new companies of conglomerates like Kalyani Group, Adani Group, Hinduja Group, who are actually entering the defense industry. The incumbents. So basically there are two types of incumbents: private companies and DPSUs. So private companies are Tata Group, Mahindra Defense Systems, L&T Defense, and DPSUs will be Bharat Electronics Limited, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Mazgaon Dock Shipbuilders. So each of these companies have got some capabilities. DPSUs, Defense Public Sector Units, have been operating for a long period of time, and government funds it. And while private companies are currently uh, mostly into technology transfer and manufacturing of components. So we'll understand how this disruption takes place. So the first checkpoint will be does symmetry exist between the defense firms operating in India? So we can see that there are around 5,000 defense companies supplying only 25% of the components and sub-assemblies by DPSUs. This shows that there are no symmetries between them, and a lot of asymmetries exist in the market. So this asymmetries provide a lot of gaps in the industry for attackers to enter the industry, and that is why I would call it an opportunity for attackers, that they can enter the industry with this gaps. Innovation naturally fits target markets in Indian defense industry. Yes. So recently, government of India changed its proposal of R&D proposal, and it also around 80% of government funding for eligible R&D proposals of private companies also. Moreover, increasing FDI limits has also empowered the industry, and innovation as a result is happening in form of technology transfer as well as R&D. So big firms are basically targeting very small or niche areas which are highly profitable, like shipbuilding, tanks, artillery, various segments like electronics, radar systems, armors, and headgears. So one of the key aspects of disruption would be a company targets lower end of the market and then moves upward. So some firms like Indian PSUs are actually seeding the uh, low end of the market and moving towards large aircraft carriers, manufacturing large aircraft carriers and stealth submarines. Now this is not something called disruption, but it's technically done so that this normal or low end of the market can be taken over by private companies, which does not need specialized capabilities and high R&D expenditure, while Indian PSUs can focus on places where they need high capabilities as well as specific skill sets and competencies which they have developed over a long period of time, as well as funding which they have got in huge amounts. So basically, it's not a form of disruption, but at the same time, the companies are moving away from the low end of the market and moving towards the key end of the markets. Uh, there is a there is at least one firm with unique skill sets which other firms doesn't have. So this is a very important checkpoint which will help us understand the competitive advantage of the PSUs. And we can see that HAL or HAL in form of its aircraft manufacturing capabilities, Cochin shipyard in form of its stealth submarine manufacturing capabilities have got unique capability as well as skill sets which other company doesn't possess. Other company doesn't possess. So after understanding the disruption in the industry, let's understand what is the current trend of the industry. So yeah, let's if you see high level of motivation towards the future in defense firms operating in India. So due to high government spending and other macroeconomic factors, we can see that defense firms operating in India have got a bright future. While if does science are firms in India showing signs of disruptive growth, the industry is showing disruptive growth in terms of new technologies taking place, like UAV replacing planes and flights. But uh, firms are not firms are not getting disrupted. So traditional companies are not getting disrupted with new companies coming in. Yeah, large part of business is moving away from DPSUs, defense PSUs, to private companies, and from private companies to startups. Uh, so in that sense, yes, kind of disruptive growth is little bit taking shape in the industry. Uh, are the defense firms in a situation where the right strategy needs to emerge? Uh, yes. So basically, a large number of companies are focusing on a very small ecosystem, only small number of items like aerospace or shipbuilding or artillery, while a long curve of defense equipments are left blank, and we have to import those things. So this is the strategy that needs to emerge in the industry. A large Are the defense firms in India giving themselves enough freedom to encourage emergent forces? Yeah, so majority of defense firms in India are uh, measuring their success in forms of number of partnerships they are making, and they are consistently gaining external partnership or acquisitions, whether L&T or Tata Tech or Piramal. Everyone is trying to enter the industry with consistently diversifying their portfolios and getting new disruptors into their arena. Managers in Indian defense industry are able to see the future of Indian defense with being the modernization being the key driver, but they do not show that uh, capacity to learn consistently, because they are still trying to uh, use technology transfer rather than getting investing in new technology and staying ahead of the curve. So in defense particularly, we can see that investors are having a huge problem because of long trade long long cycles, inordinate delays in procurement plans of the government, as well as R&D spendings not giving clear pictures, as well as disinvestment not taking place at the pace at which we would have hoped. So that is as well as high risk industry, because of the above factors, makes a little bit underconfident industry. Defense industry will be underconfident uh, for an investor, or from financial perspective. So value networks, yeah, so value networks does overlap over a huge companies. With new companies coming in, have to depend on the value networks of the older companies, and that is a huge overlap between the value networks of incumbents as well as new companies, in form of maybe investments, in form of maybe technology transfer, and as well as partnerships. And these value networks have not been able to create new business model or asymmetries. So this, because of overlapping of value networks, the asymmetries are removed, and the new business model is not taking shape or not taking place in the industry, because of this incumbent value networks are being dominant in the industry. Yeah, so spin out is something that has really come out as a trend in the industry, and almost all companies want to create a new spin out of their industry to focus that particular spin out on a focused area like aerospace or shipbuilding or weapons manufacturing, as well as that spin out can be in the form of JV. So this has actually this is actually in form of actually created a trend in the industry, and I think this spin outs have been operating as a separate entity, funding for themselves, with just the initial funding coming in from the parent company, and rest all being funded by the company itself, and consistently gaining trend. Thank you.